In any discussion of artificial intelligence, the word ethics usually pops up quite quickly. In the traditional view, law says what we can do, ethics says what we should do. And that used to be a significant gap. There was a lot of ethics that wasn't covered by law. So it's interesting to look at the EU High-Level Experts Group requirements for trustworthy AI. They present a complete list of 4 ethics principles: respect for autonomy, prevention of harm, fairness, and explicability. But if you know Europe's privacy law, the GDPR, those seem familiar. It too addresses automated decision-making, autonomy, prevention of unjustified harm, fairness, and a right to explanation. And if you look at the HLEG's ethics requirements, which don't claim to be exhaustive, the same happens. At least 5 of the 7 also appear in the GDPR: technical robustness and safety, privacy and data governance, transparency, diversity, non-discrimination, and accountability. What this suggests is that the GDPR, as its title Data Protection suggests, has expanded well beyond the traditional scope of a privacy law into the zone that was previously only addressed by ethics. That means that a significant chunk of ethics is now a legal requirement, that any system that addresses the GDPR's legal requirements is well on the way to being ethical too, and that there is a lot of guidance available from the law and regulators on how to do that. So what's left? There seem to be 3 main areas. Concerning human agency and transparency, the GDPR's provisions on automated decision-making are a start, but are limited to decisions with legal consequences, which seem to include permission to hire an e-bike, but exclude large-scale nudging. An ethical viewpoint may be a better guide to which automated actions need particular care. In education, we're more likely to use AI to support human decision makers than to make decisions itself. So here it is particularly important to have transparency to users about AI's capabilities and limitations. What situations will make it a less than reliable guide? And we should be particularly careful if we move away from this human-in-the-loop model. Concerning respect for human autonomy, most of the prohibited behaviors, unjustifiably subordinating, coercing, deceiving, manipulating, conditioning, or herding humans, are unethical whether done by human or machine. The risk with AI is of amplifying either the scope or the intensity of the resulting harm. According to the HLEG, humans must retain full and effective self-determination over themselves, using AI to augment, complement, and empower human cognitive, social, and cultural skills. The All-Party Parliamentary Group on Data Analytics recommends that educational institutions should engage students as collaborators, not as mere recipients of interventions and services. Ethical principles to bear in mind here include the rights to free speech and free assembly, and the purpose of education, the full development of human personality, all of which derive from the UN Human Rights Convention. Finally, prevention of harm and societal and environmental well-being ask the biggest questions of all. Should we do this at all, and should we let computers do it? For example, in education, should we personalize to the point where no 2 students have the same course of study, and should we let AI decide which students get onto an oversubscribed course? The GDPR helps us assess individual harms through tools such as data protection impact assessments and accountability. These are useful even where actions don't seem to involve any personal data. But ethics requires us to look wider at group and intangible harms, for example to social, cultural, and political environments. Tools such as consequence scanning, future cones, and ethical canvas may help here. A good starting point may be to consciously seek opportunities where AI can enhance the educational process rather than just being an administrative tool. Another perspective is to think about how we delegate tasks to humans, such as teaching assistants and external examiners. How we instruct, constrain, and monitor those may give useful clues as to how we should delegate to machines. And remember that in education we aren't applying AI to a static process. Students, staff, and the education process itself are supposed to change, and success may not be measurable by data alone.